I don't want Chinese interests to have a control over parts of our economy, be it farmland, be it TikTok, be it Hollywood. And we can start with TikTok and other platforms they try to introduce, and it's going to be a game of whack-a-mole, but I do think it's important that we do it.
What if the information was correct?
Who cares? That's fine. Who cares?
Well, if you're blocking them if you're blocking this country, or insert any other country, if you're blocking the information from coming in that could potentially be correct, then we don't have the ability to see the correct information. If you can sue
assuming
Facebook
we live in a country
and
like North Korea and we have no means to do shows like
It's
this.
also assuming that the only place you could get the correct information is that one specific app. The apps.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I would, especially in. Well, I think that's kind of unlikely.
I can end this debate right now.
Do it. Do it.
How many followers do you have on YouTube?
5,100.
How many followers do you have on Twitter?
5,000 something, 5,500.
How many followers do you have on TikTok?
155,000. That doesn't solve any. I make video content. Video content does not vertical.
You're arguing for the platform where you have a following.
Oh,
no, it has nothing to. No, that is not true. And it's a false equivalency. It's a false equivalency to suggest that my opinion is biased simply because my content works there. For you to presume that that's the case is incorrect. There's nothing to lead you.
I made an assumption, and
you can make an assumption, but it's a false assumption.
Guess how many followers I have on TikTok?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. But that's
It's kind of false equivalent. I feel like
basically you're saying that you're saying I'm only arguing because I want to benefit myself.
Yes.
But, okay. Well, you could presume that, but that's not the case. Like if I had no followers on Twitter,
I don't think you read the bill. I don't think you know what's in the law.
I can't recite it back and forth right now. It's been a long time since it came out.
I think you're arguing for your platform.
I'm not arguing for my platform though. I have more followers on Instagram than I do on TikTok.
All right, fair point.
And I don't care about TikTok.
We have almost no followers on TikTok because TikTok banned us like 5 times.
Right, and I don't like the censorious nature of TikTok. What I understand is that giving the government more authority to do X, and specifically to limit the distribution of thought because this thought is wrong and or it comes from this place, therefore it can't be correct, is a dangerous precedent and an additional power and an additional authority that we're already giving to a government that largely mismanages just about every possible thing. So it's like, okay, they can ban this from China. Well, now couldn't they theoretically ban information from whatever else? Doesn't it open the door?
It's not a ban. There's no ban.
And what can't they do?
There's no ban. There's no ban.
What can't they do? Like honestly, at the end of the day, if the government wants to do something, they can do it. And the only thing stopping them is if the American people get loud enough and make enough of a stink.
Yep.
And that's it. Because the Constitution is just a piece of paper. And the government has gone around every single law every single liberty the American people have that's protected by the Bill of Rights.
Yep.
The government has found a way around it.
So we should give them more power so they could do more censorship.
You're not giving them power.
How does
they already have it?
So then why do they make the bill at all? Why didn't they just do it? Why do they have to vote on it if they already have the power?
That's how the power is exercised.
That's how. Yeah, that's just how.
So it's just a
procedure.
So
let me tell you guys a story.
Well, I mean, what is it that they can't do? Well, what do you think that they're going to?
Then couldn't they have already forced them to sell it?
This is them
2 years ago.
This is them doing it.
Yeah, but if they have ultimate power and they could have done it anyways, then why even have the bill? Why even have the show? Why not just do it?
The power is derived through congressional action.
Yeah, and it's a dog and everything's a dog and pony show.
Bobby, are you friends with Fang Fang? I'm just kidding.
No, I mean,
let me tell you guys a story that is completely unrelated to any of these platforms. There was once a social media platform that allowed people to post videos singing songs. It was marketed largely to young people on various social media platforms, showing young people singing songs.
Okay.
This is a fictional story, by the way.
Oh, gotcha.
And all the kids love to sing songs, and so when they signed up for the platform, they decided to try it out and see if this platform was right for them. For many of these young people, they saw overnight they gained thousands of followers. It was amazing. In one instance, a prominent journalist decided to visit a production studio in Hollywood, and he met up with another production specialist who showed this cool new app where you can sing songs. And she had 300,000 followers. Whoa. And she played this app and said, let's do a video. And when she did the video, she got tons of comments that said, wow, bang, hi, cool, amazing, so good. And the journalist said, isn't it strange that all the comments are saying nonsense words and not actually responding to you in any way? How do you have so many followers on this platform? You don't have any followers anywhere else, and you have no large body of work. Shrug, says the production specialist. The idea at the time, again, fictional story, was that a foreign entity had produced a social media platform, marketed it to high school kids, and then gave them fake followers to trick them into advocating for this platform instead of other social media platforms. Then later on, when there was upset over what the platform had been engaged in politically, a bunch of people with fake followers started defending it publicly. Again, a fictional story I just made up.
This is to presume that there is some inherent bias then that position can only be held by a person who seeks to personally benefit as a result. So if I deleted my TikTok right now, would that mean that that point no longer exists?
I made the point that I have no TikTok followers.
Yeah, but
it's the inverse.
Yeah, but
we have nothing to lose from TikTok because they banned us. So here we are. We don't care if they get banned.
Yeah, you don't care. So
I don't
isn't
know
it
why
safe
you're
to say
defending China so much?
I'm not defending China. I'm defending the limitation of the distribution of thought.
Okay.
And the fact that China so happens to own some piece. Okay, well, what is it that we don't want them to be able to do?
Post on Rumble.
We have to be able to review your servers. Okay, fine. Write that in. Every social media company has to be able to be sued for libel, whatever, because the servers. Fine. It can't collect this personal data. Okay, write that in. Every social media platform.
Algorithm.
What do you mean no algorithm?
No algorithm.
What does that mean, no algorithm? Every social media application has an algorithm.
No, that means you post reverse chronological only.
But that's the whole magic of the whole thing.
Right, that Chinese interest can determine what you can and can't see.
Every social media platform can determine what you see and don't see.
Sure
every
can.
television
some
station,
are American and some are Chinese. We
Every
don't like
radio
Chinese
station.
ones.
Yeah, but that's just to. But that's
if you want free speech, go to Rumble. You got Parler, Rumble, Getter, X. There's tons of places you can post.
Minds.com.
I think there's
Minds.com.
I think there's a reasonable case to be made that your argument about me only arguing for TikTok would be inverse. That you already have a huge platform on YouTube. You already have it. So you arguing against TikTok, which is a place where people that are smaller creators are actually able to gain prominence. You don't care because it has
Rumble.
Rumble's not. You're never going to get the gas on Rumble that you're going to get on TikTok.
Why do you get it on TikTok?
You get it on TikTok because it's an interest-based algorithm.
Has the SEC audited TikTok's user base?
Hold on. Listen.
The answer is no.
Fine. The difference between TikTok and every other social media application is TikTok is an interest-based algorithm, which means that you don't have to have it's not a subscription-based algorithm, which is like
Instagram,
which is like Rumble, like Instagram, like YouTube, like literally every other thing, including
Instagram is not follower-based. It's interest generated.
I think that is more than not true, because
my feed on Instagram is nobody I follow. It's all random posts.
They only did that because TikTok has an interest-based graph that's encouraging them to do that because they have to. Because TikTok is based on interest, which means that you can discover new people. You can have 1,000 followers on TikTok and you can have a video get 15 million views. The probability of that happening on any other platform basically does not exist because
I posit that those numbers are not real and that you are being manipulated into defending a platform based on fake numbers.
I got 7 million, and
what proof do you have that the numbers are fake?
Anyways,
can any number on any platform be determined as fake?
So for American companies that are publicly traded, they are under regulation through the FTC and the SEC if they're publicly traded to not do that.
Okay,
so
we put the same rules on them then. Say you have to be regulated so that you show the views are real. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but it still comes down to why should we allow Chinese interests to determine what American young people see?
Because it doesn't determine what American young people see. People have free will. They don't determine.
You just said it was an interest-based algorithm.
It's an interest-based algorithm, which means if I watch videos about Pringles,
they have content moderation policies.
Every platform has content moderation policies.
Does TikTok have content moderation policies?
Sure, every single platform
does. Chinese interest determining what you are allowed to see.
Yeah, but they could determine what you're allowed to see on television, on radio, in movies, in movie theaters.
China, bro. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
It's not about China. It's about
they are China.
Yeah, but that's just now. It's China.
It's always been China.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that sooner or later it's China, and then it's conservatives, and then it's people that believe in free speech, and then it's conspiracy theories.
That's not a slippery slope.
I believe it is a conspiracy.
Sorry, they're China.
America.
I apologize.
Giving additional power to reduce the distribution of thought is a problem.
I think the U.S. government should ban foreign influence operations from any adversarial nation that can be proven in court in an adversarial way, like this bill gives TikTok the right to file a lawsuit to counter the claims, which they've appeared to have lost. The Supreme Court refused to issue a decision on decision day, meaning they may take up an injunction, but likely will not. This is TikTok losing the argument. They had the argument, they lost it. Now, I do agree that there is a risk in that they'll say, oh, Russia's doing influence operations, and they'll falsely accuse people of these things. But this bill doesn't do that. This bill only refers to platforms with more than 1 million monthly active users, that allows users to, it's got 4 stipulations to determine what is a covered company. Ultimately, I do not believe in this absolute libertarian position that in a time of conflict, a nation should allow its enemies to exploit it. There is this liberal universal principle concept of, hey, look, China's going to run a program in this country. We are obviously in a trade conflict and we've got tensions over Taiwan. War could break out at any minute, but we should let them do this. My view is no, sometimes a people have to assert strong authority. It has to exist.
But are we anti-fact checker?
What is that?
Personally,
do you like fact checking?
No.
But what does that mean?
Okay. So
what does that mean?
If we're anti-fact checker, meaning that there is some authority that suggests that this information is correct or wrong, or you can see it or you cannot see it, isn't it safe to say that that's exactly what's occurring here? If you're saying that this information that China is pushing out is wrong, then who determines that it's wrong?
It's not about the information.
You know what,
But that's what he's saying, is that the information gets, like Dylan Mulvaney gets pushed to the top of the...
shows their kids?
What?
Do you know what Douyin shows kids in China?
I'll be honest, I don't know what Douyin is.
I mean, I'll start by saying this. If you don't know what Douyin is, you shouldn't be arguing this at all.
Okay, well, I am arguing it. So
okay, well, Douyin is Chinese TikTok.
Okay,
so okay. Douyin in China shows kids math, science, astronomy, etc.
Fine.
What do you think happens to a generation of Americans that are raised on TikTok's gender woke algorithm?
These people are using these applications with their own free will,
and then TikTok
one's forcing them. But
what appears on the what appears for people and what does not.
So you're saying that we have to block information that we deem to be influential.
They have to divest from China.
Yeah, but I don't even see how that solves it. I don't see how them divesting from China changes the influence that they have over the algorithm.
It means that we will have legal recourse in the United States.
Then make it legal recourse and don't force them to divest. What do they have to divest from? If you have the legal recourse, and
Americans have a right to their opinions. Chinese people do not have a right to assert opinions over Americans. It's that simple.
But they already are in a multitude of other different ways.
And we want it all to stop.
Okay,
this is one of the ways.
But isn't the farmland around military installations far more threatening than somebody?
No, it's not.
It's not.
That's not the question.
Hold on.
All right.
Let me tell you why it's not.
Okay.
112 million people on a platform, arguably assuming it's true, affects an entire generation into engaging in behaviors that will destroy a country from the inside out. Farmland being owned is bad. We can seize that with a finger snap. But you can't seize back the minds of 12-year-olds who for 10 years used a platform that told them to cut their fucking balls off.
Yeah, but
so we don't want that.
But you're saying, but again, so then if Facebook says this, then what? You can stop Facebook?
We did.
If Facebook,
we literally did it. Congratulations, we all won. Trump got in. Zuckerberg bent the knee and said we're removing the restrictions.
Right. So okay, if X decides to do this, then what?
Decides to do what?
If it comes out that X is not a publicly traded company.
Twitter did it.
Yeah, but
I literally sat down with the CEO and the head of legal for Twitter and explained to them that they had a biased rule set that was favoring people who were suffering a DSM-5 mental disorder.
Yep.
And then Elon Musk bought it and ripped it to shreds. We win.
Why should the United States allow TikTok, which is run by China, to operate in the United States when China doesn't allow Facebook or Google or any number of other American companies to operate in China without having strict censorship laws?
Is that the metric?
No, but why should we?
But I don't.
Yes,
diplomatic
reciprocity.
I just don't know. Well, it's a communist. They're communists. It's a communist state. It seems to me to compare what they do to their people as a metric.
They do that because they want to control what information their people see.
Yeah, that's bad.
Why would we allow
information control is bad?
Why would we allow communists to control a large economic driver in the United States and information driver?
Because the moral hazard of restricting thought distribution is a problem and is an additional power that you're granting to an already bloated government that mismanages everything. So you're saying that
China is not afforded the protections of the United States Constitution.
Sir,
Again,
yes.
it's thought. Again, it's thought distribution.
Look,
I'll just make this the simple.
If you can,
the argument, TikTok has successfully convinced Americans to argue for constitutional protections on Chinese interests.
You could say that any social media platform.
I'm in favor of banning all trade from China. I'm in favor of Donald Trump saying
pay them back first.
30% tariff on all goods made in China, no matter what. I'm in favor of severing diplomatic ties with China. I don't care. Yeah. China has no rights in this country. China should not be manufacturing American goods, selling them back to us, made by slave labor, and gutting our culture and our economy. And so that they would have any interest in our media space that targets young people, that is, in my opinion, an act of war.
Sir, and I agree with the farmland.
Targets.
That's a bunch of bullshit, bullish.
But owning land is minimal because
this
one guy,
it's more influential.
One federal agent with a piece of paper and no weapon can take that land in 2 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, we could do it ourselves if we wanted to. But having Chinese control the minds of youth, I mean, I give zero Fs.
But that's a stretch to just be like they are controlling the minds of because people choose to go on this platform and consume information with their own free will. The content that I watch on TikTok doesn't suggest anything, and even if it did. To say that my free will is determined by the algorithm and I don't have agency to choose what I want to watch or not want to watch. I could also not have an account at all.
Sure, no one's saying you don't have agency.
If what you were saying was true, Coca-Cola would never buy an ad again.
Not sir. But Bobby, you don't you have your own agency.
If what you were saying was true, Coca-Cola would never buy another advertisement again.
Explain that to me.
Do you know how much it costs to run videos in front of people on the internet?
Yeah. I have an elaborate understanding of it, in fact.
So China has a multi-billion-dollar interest in determining what videos you get to see because advertising works.
Okay. But that means advertising is just presenting an idea to a person that they can choose to purchase.
Selling an idea.
Okay, so then we ban the selling of ideas that we deem wrong?
We just say China shouldn't have the ability to do that in this country at scale.
And then what country is next?
Iran, Russia, North Korea.
And then what comes after that?
Whoever declares war on us.
People that are anti-government, perhaps?
That's not a country.
People that are anti-establishment?
That's not a country.
Yeah, but isn't this how all these things work? It's like, oh, there's not an income tax. It's only going to be on the rich. And then, oops, the rich is $1 million. Oops, the rich is 100,000.
Slopes goes in every direction.
Yeah, so
you can choose to allow China to send Dylan Mulvaney to children, or you can say, no, China, you can't do that. Pick one.
I don't know that Dylan Mulvaney on a social media application to human persons that have agency that determine that you're saying like these people are too stupid to understand the information that's being presented to them, and thus daddy government must ban it. Admittedly, you're giving more power to a bureaucracy that is limiting thought distribution.
Indeed, I am not. That's a straw man argument.
How?
Well, I never said anyone was too stupid. I said influence operations work. That's why Coca-Cola buys ads. Okay, if you think Coke isn't successfully running advertisements and those ads appear because they don't know what to spend their money on, I got a bridge to sell you. So the issue is when China, for instance, wants to run, they run Xinhua in the United States as well. And to a certain degree, you want to run a company like that, fine. We're talking about the scale of what TikTok is and the stranglehold they have over a large amount of young people. The slippery slope goes in every direction. If we say we will do nothing, we are saying the Chinese Communist Party can effectively control what 112 million people in the U.S. get to see. And they're going to send them things that are bad for U.S. interests. If we say we want China to divest, the argument is sooner or later the U.S. will ban other countries. Yep. And there is no such thing as a happy medium. The slippery slope goes in every direction. I elect that China not be allowed to run influence operations at this scale.
I think if you had a very specific outline of what are the things that any thought distribution platform has to follow, and all American companies included would have to adhere to these specific guidelines, and TikTok has to adhere to those same guidelines, then fine. But to specifically isolate TikTok or China or whatever. And I think that, look, I don't know.
The issue is Americans have a right to their opinions and the Chinese people don't have a right to opinions in America. The Chinese communists, right? So if you're an American...
ideas are ideas. I don't know.
If you're an American and you're a leftist, you are allowed to say you're a leftist and promote leftist ideas. If you're conservative, same thing. If you are Chinese, you have no right to distribute those ideas in this country. That's why
English people, British people, all these foreigners try to tell us how to run our country. Their words mean nothing to us.
But it's
they
fine
can
if
do
they're
it.
speaking.
Right.
They can
They're
do
not
it.
running one of the largest social
right.
media platforms with no accountability, no transparency.
Yeah.
It's to all of our young people.
They're on a much more grand
while
level
they
than
simultaneously send their children math and science.
Yeah.
So
Like that
force
is
them to.
clearly an act of war.
I don't
do you
think
about
so.
that differently? How like they give
don't
their
think
kids
that-
2 hours a day or whatever, they do math and
Yeah,
like,
fine.
but they let the American people like do whatever the F's going on around there.
But,
Like, come on.
Okay, then write into the law that any social media application
But that
can't
gives
be
government
pursued for more than 2 hours.
That gives big government daddy, like you said, more
Exactly.
control.
I'm all against the government having more authority to censor ideas.
But that's giving government more authority by telling government daddy that you can't. You have to give the kids 2 hours a day. That you
I
can't
don't
put
want
this
that.
on.
That's what you're saying. I don't want that.
No, I'm saying that's what China does, and you're saying,
Yeah, who cares what China? I don't care.
Oh,
what
we
they
don't care.
do.
Okay.
I don't care what they do with their people. That's I mean, I care.
You
but
care
I
what they do with our people?
So once again, this is a liberal principle of
okay.
we will let our enemies use tactics against us that we ourselves do not use. I don't agree with that. I take more of a post-liberal approach where you have to have some assessment that foreign adversaries are seeking to destroy you through subversive means, and we set limiting guidelines on how these things are to operate in this country. And so, and that being said, TikTok as a business can survive. The jobs can exist. The servers can exist so long as China is not owning a portion of it. There's ways they can loophole around that, but I think this is a simple way to say we as the United States do not allow foreign adversaries to influence at scale our people.
Amen.
I think that is a reasonable position to have. However, China already has a multitude of other influential ties into all other aspects of American
that's a
culture.
fallacy, though.
All of the
No, how is that
listen,
a fallacy?
Because we're not
keep
arguing
making-
farmland or Hollywood. We're arguing one thing.
What about
right
the
now.
NBA?
Same. You
What
keep
about
making
We
the
all
same argument,
agree
though.
on that.
Okay.
The fallacy is when I say X and you say Y, we're not talking about Y. You are right about Y. Let's figure out whether this ban in a bill right now should be implemented. If the argument is, why don't we ban them from owning farmland? Agreed. We'll do that next.
Amen.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Okay. I don't know. I just think that look, I didn't read the bill. I didn't read the bill because I didn't know that we would be specifically talking about it, except for 7 months ago.
Yeah.
No, I read it 7 months
I
ago
hear you. No,
when
no,
it first
I feel
came
you.
out.
Yeah.
And to me, it appeared to have a lot of vagaries that could affect all types of other websites and other unnamed countries, and ultimately,
That's not true.
Thoughts. It just specifically says China,
Yes.
TikTok.
It
And
says
Iran.
North Korea, Russia, Iran, and China.
Okay.
Iran or Iran? I call it Iran.
Iran.
And if that was passed, wouldn't a modification to include some other thought process or country be a lot simpler?
The
add?
reference in the bill refers to a separate bill that pertains to acquiring materials from adversaries, acquiring or distributing, and it lists 4 adversarial countries. The TikTok bill says a covered entity is one of those that is part of the adversaries listed in 18 USC, blah, 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 blah. If Congress wants to amend any one of these bills, notably the root bill, which identifies adversarial nations, to add another adversarial nation, that would actually affect any other bill attached to it. So it wouldn't just affect this one bill. But also, Congress does have the authority, the power, and nay, the privilege to determine who our adversaries are. That's what Congress is supposed to do. And I believe as a country, you need a governing body, should be Congress, to determine who our enemies are and to declare war when need be. In this instance, saying foreign adversaries shouldn't be running an app like this. So what does it specifically say? ByteDance, TikTok, their subsidiaries, entities controlled or owned by them, or it specifically says foreign controlled of these 4 nations, blah, 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 that has a website or app. What does it say? A website, desktop application, mobile application, augmented or immersive technology that 1, permits a user to create an account or profile to generate, share, and view text, video, images, real-time communications. 2, has more than 1 million monthly active users with respect to at least 2 of the 3 months preceding the date on which the determination of the president is made. 3, enables 1 or more users to generate or distribute content that can be viewed by other users on the website, desktop application, mobile, et cetera, et cetera. And then 4, enables 1 or more users to view content generated by other users. So there's exclusions listed in it. They get TikTok got 165 days to file a challenge, which they did, and it appears that they've lost. The federal courts upheld this, and the Supreme Court largely seemed like they didn't see why China would have First Amendment rights in the United States, and there's nothing barring Congress from saying foreign adversaries can't operate this way. If the president makes a determination under this code as it pertains to a website following these 4 criteria, they can issue a report to Congress, for which Congress can then make a declaration that this other website operating like TikTok in a similar fashion would also be forced to divest from one of these 4 nations. At that point, they would get 90 days to file action to challenge that. So it's not a ban. The only thing that would happen is if this goes through on Sunday, TikTok will be forced to remove, well, not TikTok, Apple and Google would be forced to remove TikTok from the App Store. The apps could still appear on their websites. You go to TikTok.us and click download. It'll go right to your phone, but not on the iPhone because it's iPhone's problem, not anyone else's. But you could still get on Android. Instead, TikTok said, no, screw you guys. We are going to shut our company down to spite this law. They could just divest. Why not?
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.